Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Basically, this is the 41th, 42 number part basically. So these all are the OR operators. OR means if this condition matches, or basically this condition matches. So a value basically contains 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then it will go to this condition and it will say that basically this number is between 2 and 7. So because conditions are like this, na, basically 2 if a will 2, or basically if a is 3, or basically if a is 4, or basically so these all are the programming conditional operators basically. And they basically have physical creations basically. They have basically physical creation, and that's very dangerous basically. If one of the person told that, yeah, we never actually thought that if condition also basically have the physical location. So one of the person basically told that, then Microsoft what basically have? One of the person basically asked the question that also, what C++ basically have? What Microsoft have? What PHP basically have? Because everything basically they are deriving from the other side basically. Even basically they have the editor basically. Notepad basically I think it's of Microsoft basically. So Microsoft basically at least say he can say that basically, Sunil, I have at least Notepad basically. Calculator he have basically. So this whole thing basically he have basically. But when he goes to the programming side basically, he don't have nothing basically. Even basically the user controls basically are getting derived from the third parties basically. Then what he have basically? One of the person basically asked the question basically. So one of the person told that, yeah, Microsoft also basically started thinking, really, yeah, basically what I have basically. So he basically might have to think basically. That's why basically I every time basically say that tax money basically when you are paying to the government, ask for the detail basically. But that also basically American government basically tracked it. That means American government is watching this video basically, and he basically tracked and he told that basically we don't want tax amount basically. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the governments are afraid. Do you know why basically they are afraid? Because they don't know this. If condition equal to if else basically is created from 1,000 cities, and they don't have the list of the 1,000 cities, because it might possible that one of the software company like Oracle, PHP or Microsoft basically or Java group basically might have asked the question to American government that we want the list of the user controls. For example, text box equal to 1,000 cities. So this 1,000 cities is where basically and how they are basically working. So this data basically government might not be having. Why? Because the nuclear data, power companies, energy companies, they think this everything basically they are not aware about this basically. So that is basically fact basically. And fact basically people don't understand the fact. And fact is Sunil Nair basically is not working. That is the fact basically. So that basically I accepted basically that fact. So again basically the if else condition see basically. This all basically I have already discussed. If condition match, it will come here. Else basically it will come here. These all are the that's why basically I always say before learning basically the PHP, Excel learning is the best side basically. See basically if else if basically if else means if this then go here. If this condition doesn't match then it will go to here. If this also condition doesn't match then basically it will go to else. So that's basically if else. And this all basically have physical data basically. Physical data means this is connecting to the physical area. So this if condition basically might be created from some thousands of cities basically. So see basically. See basically PHP. If this then basically this. These all are the operators basically. Like this also basically if condition can be given. So there are many ways basically. So one of the person told that here the main is the data basically which you get from the different areas and it is dumped into the user controls. That is the main basically. That basically somebody might have done by some group basically, that might be possible. Which group basically, that we can't track. Switch also basically we saw. See basically, if this expression basically goes inside, that expression basically is the condition, and if that expression equal to this, then it will go to this, otherwise it will go to this, and it will break also basically. Otherwise basically if break is not there, then basically it will go to next basically. So these all basically are given in the Excel file basically. So that's why basically the good way is before any programming basically. I am telling before any programming basically, before any Microsoft, before any PHP, before learning Foxflow, before learning D2K, before learning anything basically. Learn basically Excel basically. That is the best way basically. That basically the training institute basically provides basically. Switch case, see basically this everything basically. Break condition also basically we saw. One of the person told that the default keyword basically. The specific code to run there is no case match basically. So just see basically. This type of thing activity also basically, but that basically very rare basically. That basically this type of default basically used are in very rare case basically. See basically these all are the stuff basically. Sometimes basically if you don't key case, some programming technique basically gives error, and some programming companies basically don't give error basically in this basically. Here basically if one case then nothing, two case nothing, this is nothing. So that's basically, then basically why you are basically giving the switch case basically, that is also thing basically. So programming basically is technique basically. Program is one technique basically you can say, and that basically use in a logical way only basically. The person basically who is logically perfectly fine, he basically can learn programming very easily basically. So he should be logically very fine basically, and for that the best way is Excel side basically. Excel is there, and many basically open source is also there, open office source is also there, but people basically prefer Excel basically. While loop basically, see, loops basically are there. Loops basically are you can say it's like that. I want to print uh, 10 lines basically from one or two lines. So that time basically you can give a loop. If you want to do some condition, if you want to, one of the person told that there are hundreds of record basically, and from hundreds of record basically I want to check some conditions basically. So in that basically you can use the looping basically. So what is looping, that basically we will see basically. While loops are there, do while loops are there, for loops are there, for each loops are there, while loop basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this.